Oh, it's a little bit later than usual, guys. It is Friday, July the 11th, but for some reason, the CFL for the first time this year decided to not have games until tonight. So we're here to talk about the league, break down the league. But first of all, I'm going to figure out. I decided this as I was coming home. I didn't want to so much look back on the Argonauts, but besides the obvious answers of injuries and getting the starting quarterback and Chad Kelly back, how does this team turn their ship around, both literally and figuratively?
You want to go first, David?
We'll go, Frank.
Okay, I'll go first. How do they do it?
Yeah,
they rush Kelly back. Okay, that was just being silly. They do the trend that's been going on since the beginning of the season has to continue, and that is Arbuckle's improvement under center. He has played better each and every game. There's been improvement, but what there hasn't been is a complete game by Arbuckle. That in itself would help this team a lot. What you do when you possess the ball and how much time you use it and how far you go down the field helps every other situation, whether it be, special teams or especially defense. If you're giving the defense good positioning to play defense where the playbook shrinks for the opposition, you end up with a better result 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, that's a big one. Like, I know that a lot of it has been things haven't gone right with without Chad Kelly, but it's not just that one phase of the game that's shrinking them right now. Special teams hasn't been very good. Again, injuries have played a bit of a factor there, and defense has been, in my opinion, has been the bigger problem. And in a way, we kind of expected it. There's a lot of new players. It takes time for a defense to come together. There are certain things that are going right, and I think Frank is totally right. When they've been forced to, when the opposition gets better field position to work with, it has worked in their favor. They're able to do certain things that it impacts what the offense can do because the playbook changes, as Frank says. And the offense hasn't exactly put them in positions to win either. It's a culmination of things, but if I was to talk about giving a ranking of what's been the biggest issue, it has to be the defense.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you guys. Like, offensively, I've noticed that look, Nick from week 1 to week 5 is 2 different quarterbacks. Like, the Nick we're seeing is more calm in the pocket, not as eager to get rid of the ball, and getting more time to make plays. Is that to do with offensive line play? Necessarily, I don't know, but it is a good thing. But it's like you guys alluded to. It's the defense has been the real disappointment this year. Like, I know Andrew Chatfield's producing sacks, and they're going to get better and they're going to get healthy, but the way they're in right now, I don't know if they can keep winning these like crazy getting into these shootout style games, because we saw it last week that you play with your food for too long. Eventually, you're gonna not have a fun time, and that's literally what happened Friday night. They had every chance to get back in that game, but it was basically 1 step forward, 2 steps back, where it's like, hey, Grant gets the return touchdown, brings it within a meaningful score. What does Hamilton do? Oh, Bo Levi with another bomb, or Isaiah Wood getting involved in the return game. So it all starts with me with this coming Thursday, where they've got 3 really big games coming up: Montreal, Winnipeg, the last Grey Cup champ that wasn't you, the team that's been in the Grey Cup for 5 straight years, 5 straight games now. I think they got to come out of the stretch. If you come out 2-1, that brings you to what, 3 and that's 3 and 5. That's very manageable. And then you get an Ottawa team who, quite frankly, I'm probably the most disappointed out of any team in the CFL right now. So there is time. It's just you don't want to be playing catch-up football come September, come October. It's kind of like how they say down in the NFL, you don't want to be playing catch-up football come November, December. It's the exact same thing with the CFL.
Yeah, the game's going to win. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but here's the thing: because of the hole they put themselves in, they really have a small margin for error right now. Like they can't say, you know what, we lose this game, but we'll get back at it. Like, we'll get another opportunity. There's not many of those opportunities left. But go ahead, Frank.
Do we?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah, go ahead, Griff. Go.
My second question was: do we see Chad Thursday, or do we think that's going to be close vested and we won't know and probably till Tuesday or Wednesday?
Since he got injured, I didn't think he'd be coming back before week 8, and I'll stick to that.
I think if he's not taking starting reps, I think they hold him again. It's a short week, right? They're not going to be. It's technically a short week for them because they'll have maybe 2 practices, right, and then a walkthrough on Wednesday because they're playing on Thursday. So to me, that's and Dinwiddie didn't seem very confident to say they got to keep an open mind about it. But I think you're going to probably wait until I don't think this week. Maybe you get him back against the Blue Bombers. That might be the one. That might be the play. I mean, they have a back-to-back against them. So I just think with the way that the schedule's worked out, I think this might be too much of an ask because he just doesn't have the reps and he doesn't have the strength in that leg to really say, okay, yeah, we feel confident that he can go out and play.
And it's not like last year he didn't rush. Like it was surprised when he came back, right? We weren't really sure he'd come back and boom, there he is. So I think we're going to get some of that again this time.
I think last year, with the fact that suspension was coming off the bye week and they were at home, played a lot into it. The fact that like the first game after the suspension, he had the full week off. This one, too, another aspect of this as well is if you were to make a start here, it would be in the same stadium that he got hurt. And they can say there's no mentals behind it. There's no, this or that. But that's got to be something that would loom large as well. But you guys are right. The more I think about it, too, you know what? Next week they get a full 3 days of practice because they play this Thursday, but they don't play till next Saturday. They play 15 days from now is their next game after they play Thursday. And then because then the next week, it'll probably be what? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practice, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice, and a Thursday or Friday walkthrough. So, because I feel like if he doesn't go for the first Winnipeg game, it's just a matter of, okay, when are you going to do it? Because eventually there's probably more going on than we know about, which there probably already is, because Dinwiddie's been very close, keeping his cards very close to his chest on this one to steal a fun pun. But yeah, I don't think it's the worst thing if he doesn't start too, because also here's the other thing too. You're playing a Montreal team coming off 2 very bad losses after this. I don't know is that the best situation to throw him into. Meanwhile, you give him Winnipeg. It's like, hey, if there are mistakes there, you know what? You're getting the exact same defense the exact same week later. So, yeah, the more I think about it and the more realistic it is, I do think the Winnipeg game's a more realistic chance that he starts.
That's going to be – both teams are going to be angry. Disappointed in themselves, and they're going to come back. They're going to bounce back. So either of those two is going to be tough to play against as an Argo team, not just about Kelly in or out.
Yeah, I just want to make a point about hey, that they are playing in Montreal, and also Montreal is. I don't think they're going to be without anyone, but we saw what happened at the end of the Montreal game. They're going to be a little fired up come Thursday night to go play some football. That was people looking for a fight. But no, throughout the first month of the season, I feel like we're starting to see. I'm not ready to say what teams' identities are, but I think we're getting a lot of surprises in both a good sense and a bad sense. With that being said, for both of you guys, I'll save mine for last. Is there a team out there that surprised you in a good way, and there's just a team that surprised you in a bad way? Like the good way being like, you know what? Hey, they're doing either what I thought they would, or they've exceeded my expectations, and then there's the bad of just, yeah, you know what? They've been disappointing for the first month of the year.
Calgary is easy. David and I talked about this earlier. Calgary's easy on wow. They surprised me. They're doing really well. Now, I'm not sure we talked about this specifically, but if I were to be an objectively disappointed person looking at all 9 teams, it would have to be Edmonton. I expected more from Edmonton because of the moves they made. And because those moves have not shown they haven't shown anything. They made some really good moves with some really good players, and it just hasn't panned out for them early.
Yeah, I mean, Calgary, just because of how things went last year, like it felt like they were just so far behind in terms of the talent gap. Now, a quarterback certainly does change a lot of it, but it's not just the quarterback that's been working for them, right? The defense has been pretty good. The running game has always been strong in Calgary, so I never was worried about that. But it's just the way that kind of everything has come together for them. That's really impressed me with what we've seen from Calgary this year. And in terms of a team that's disappointed me, I would say Ottawa, because Ottawa went, they were a playoff team last year, and you'd think they would be the one taking the next step. Instead, and frankly, they've been like Toronto's saving grace is that Ottawa's been just as bad as they've been this year. Right now, they've had some unfortunate losses, but no, this is, to me, this has been a not. This year's been disappointing for Ottawa, and now they can always turn it around. I do agree with that sentiment that they can turn things around, but right now they got to find a way to protect Drew Brown. He's been taking too many hits, and the fact that he had already started the year hurt, not a good omen for them. He was relatively healthy last year. That's not a problem, but they need him to be healthy. They need him to play, and they need a running game to help him because he's taking too many shots.
So my team, I'm going to go a little differently. I'm going to go Hamilton. I didn't know what to expect from them. First 2 weeks looked a little bit rocky, but it seems like they had their bye week, and it's been two totally different teams where it's like the first couple games was like, okay, we think we know what they can be, but then the second 2 weeks, hey, should they be an undermanned Montreal and Hamilton? But like those are games you're supposed to win, and they won both fairly convincingly. So I think this is a team that, with Hamilton as well, you're seeing them get production from all sides of the ball. You're seeing defense. You're seeing defense. You're seeing, well, we all saw what the offense was capable of last year, but we're seeing it this year too with the addition of Kenny Lawler. And then as well, special teams, Isaiah Wooden. Those are some very impressive runs last week for him. So I think they're a team in a good position. And I'm going to go with Ottawa too, like David, just because I didn't want to go like Calgary like you guys did for the surprise in a good way. But with Ottawa for disappointment, I feel like Bob Dice is just not adjusting his game plans right. You know, you have the chance to prove your running game. Dan Adebayo he's shown what he can do. He had a great game against Calgary, but then ever since then, it's just like, you know what? Hey, we're going to let Drew Brown sit in the pocket or Dustin Crump sit in the pocket and either wait too long and throw a silly interception or get hit to no end. So I've been saying this, but with Ottawa, it just seems like if they can't get it right, there's going to be a proper house cleaning in Ottawa. I think both Sean Burke and Bob Dice's jobs are on the line because a notable storyline for Red Sox too, Rick Campbell's waiting right there. So it's like if the season goes poorly and you want to get rid of Dice, it's not like you have to go out and get an external head coaching candidate. You have one right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're the team with the most pressure on. I actually know. I'm going to be talking myself out of what I said on Frank's show, which is I think Edmonton has the most pressure to improve from where they are, but I think Ottawa has the most pressure to take a step forward to show that they're more than just a team that can contend for a playoff spot. To me, they don't look like a Grey Cup contender right now.
Well, for what you're saying, David, I agree with you, and that's I'll frame it this way. I'm not as disappointed in Ottawa for a simple reason. They've proven nothing but coming short the past 3-4 years. So I wouldn't call the disappointment their fans may be feeling right now as a surprise. I think a surprise would be if they improved, quite frankly. And the fact is that Ottawa has spent the last few years coming up with a lineup that looks better, that looks like they should be able to improve, and they don't. But, and this is a big but, guys, their quarterback is the guy that stirs the drink. He got injured. Now he's back in the lineup. And David, you highlighted a very important fact. The challenge that Ottawa has is keeping their quarterback healthy. And to your reasons, David, are 100% right. If they improve their running game, and if they protect the quarterback, and the quarterback has some receivers that can actually catch the ball, their whole game changes. It just changes because of the quarterback being in and using him at his best ability and give him the best chance to win. And that's really been the problem with Ottawa the past few years. They haven't given themselves a chance to win, whether it's injuries, whether it seems they bet on the wrong quarterback, or whether they can't get the three phases of the game right. It's always been them falling short of expectations.
Because even last year, too, we were literally like 3 feet for Bob Dyson, Drew Brown. We basically said to them, hey, this year was a great stepping stone for you guys. But I even watched the press conference video I have with Drew on my phone. This year was great, but how do you get better from next year? And so far, we haven't seen that from them. The only game that they've won was, let's be honest with you, a game that I don't think you could pay 3 of us to go to in that horrible rain game with wind and Calgary back a couple weeks ago. So Ottawa's in that place right now where, sure, you can play spoiler, but the further back you go when you're the Red Blacks, I think it's going to be harder to keep ground. That's why I feel like I have more confidence in Toronto rebounding right now, because we know what Toronto's capable of. They know what they're capable of. Ottawa's got to show it, and right now they haven't done that.
And Toronto's doing what they're doing with their number 2 quarterback. Let's be clear.
Yes.
MVP or not, Arbuckle is their number 2.
And also Toronto's getting more production, like obviously with guys like Kevin Mattal stepping up, Tavares Daniels and Coxie have been good, but we all know those guys will get better when number 12 gets out there.
And Winton McManus, who is the center of their defense, isn't playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Winton will come. I think, David, you and I spoke about this last Friday night. Winton should be back for the Montreal game, but I don't know if DeMarcus Christmas is another story. I saw him with a walking boot in the room last Friday. So I think for him, I think he's on the 6th. So I don't think for him, he probably won't be back till I'd say at least Winnipeg or the home Ottawa game.
Oh, yeah. Like Toronto, I think when you look at injuries to start this year, every team's had injuries to some degree. It's just the nature of the game. But for how many teams to have a starting quarterback out to start the year or at some point early on, it's not a good look for the league, in my opinion.
I think it was 5 teams last week were playing their backup quarterback.
Yeah, see, like that's just that.
Or 5 teams total, excuse me.
It's just not, to me. That's something the CFL needs to figure out what's going on. Like, out of 9 teams, that's over half the league.
Yeah,
right.
It's not a good look. It's not anything else. I don't know what to think about it, but player safety is what matters first. They got to get a hold on that. Just like because hey, if you keep the players safe, less injuries happen. It's just like you said, it's the nature of the game. Injuries are going to happen. It's just the timing of it. Just so it's just not right to say anything.
Yeah, they figured out in the NFL right away blindside tackles on quarterbacks are a killer. So they adjusted that. The CFL has to figure out, honestly, to your point, David, and you're 100% right. The league has to figure out how they keep their quarterbacks healthy, because the quarterbacks are the ones we're clearly seeing it year after year after year. Your number 1 goes down. All you're hoping is that you don't lose all your games, that you might win a third of the games that you're back up, and that'll help you at least survive. But I think if I can go back to the Argos, and one of the biggest challenges they have, in my opinion, is we talked about the defense. And I think the challenge with the defense is we talk about the new players. We talk about all the players they lost. They also lost their defensive coordinators, right? And they have 2 new defensive coordinators who are working together for the first time. And that's an adjustment that needs to be made. So not only are they trying to figure out who the new guys are, the players, the guys working together are new as well. So it's a whole thing the defense has to figure out and work together. And because Dinwiddie, I don't know if it's Dinwiddie or if it was their former defensive coordinator, they love to switch players up. They love moving players around. Well, they got to figure out one position before they can figure out their second position. So it's pretty complicated. It's a complicated system the Argos like to use. And that means the learning curve is a lot longer. And, but I think we've seen over the years that the Argos have been able to put together a pretty good team each and every year. And they've been competing for the cup each and every year. I have faith that they'll do it again. It's the same basic mentality that they use. And I think they'll be fine.
The big thing with it all too with Toronto is just simply there's games where even if last Friday night wasn't 51-38, if it was 45-38 or even like 43-38, it's a lot more stomachable of a loss to take. It's the fact that they're finding ways. Like the first 2 weeks, you can just write those off. But then it's like the fact that the Saskatchewan loss and the Hamilton loss are both losses where, it could have either been prevented or it couldn't have been as ugly, but you kind of let it get to that point. like I was referencing earlier, you're playing a Montreal team that's going to be pissed off, assumably, and 100% healthy. I assume Davis Alexander is going to play, and we saw last time what happened. I expect the game to be closer on Thursday night, but for right now, they have to show us, like, hey, this is what we're capable of. And they also have to win a game at home because, like, it's really weird to me the fact that we saw the attendance for what it was opening day. You know, it was just under 18K, really good crowd on a Saturday afternoon. And then you have 2 Friday games against Saskatchewan 1 and Hamilton. You can't even draw 13,000. So my thing is just, and there's been a lot of spat on Twitter about this, you know, about, oh, are Hamilton fans bad? Or, oh, are Toronto fans bad? I think it's a combination of the both, but I don't think you can really blame Hamilton fans the way that they have been for not showing up. Obviously, look, you can come to the game all you want, but make it back on a Friday night from Hamilton to Toronto. It's not fun as someone who does do it to go to the game. But I think Toronto's got to figure out a way to get, you know, consistently at least over 15 through the door for the rest of the year. But I think that one, too, is harder said than done.
Look, for the fan thing, there's a couple of things. One, the Blue Jays are good. So the Blue Jays being good and being at home, people are going to choose a Jays game over an Argo game.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, it's sorry to hear that, but it's just the way it kind of is, right? On top of that, the performances haven't been good, right? So like you gotta give people a reason to come. And what was their best attended game? It was an afternoon game on a Saturday.
Yep.
Right? Those are going to be the best attended games. Right? So you're going to have to live with the fact that it's not, but Toronto's not the only team that's had issues with attendance. Let's not forget. Like, this is not just a Toronto issue. Right?
When we had Bubba on, he made it clear that Hamilton has some problems with attendance.
Saskatchewan, too.
Yeah. People don't like hearing it. You know, when you have 2 franchises like Hamilton and Saskatchewan that basically attendance was bursting at the seams, but both had the same problem. And it's the same problem we're highlighting here about Toronto. If you don't play well, don't be surprised that people don't come out. And the nastiest thing I can say, the meanest thing I can say about the Toronto Argonauts and attendance is when they've had their biggest crowds is when they've laid their biggest eggs. So, you know, that's not good. When, you know, the Eastern Final, we were almost full there. Remember? It was almost full. There were a lot of people there. And they laid an egg against Montreal. They can't. The Argos are a great team. They've been a great team under Dinwiddie, but they picked really bad times to not play well from a perspective of bringing people back into the stadium.
The buzz. It's about the buzz around the team. There isn't a buzz around this team right now. I hate to say it. Grey Cup champion. If you tell people that I guarantee if you were at a sports bar and you picked 5 people and you asked them when was the last time the Argos won the Grey Cup, I guarantee a majority of those people wouldn't even be able to tell you that they won the Grey Cup last year. But that's a reality. Like, you know what? It's funny. I acknowledge anytime I see somebody wearing Argos gear in public, I go like, "Hey, nice hat." Oh, look at that! Sure. Like you kind of acknowledge it because you don't see it very often. It's like it's like when you see you know, a sports car on the road. Like, you appreciate when you see a Ferrari on the I appreciate when I see a Ferrari on the road, right? Because it doesn't happen very often. That's something that's the issue right now. Is Toronto is just stuck in a situation right now where there's no buzz, not just around the team but the league as well. They just don't have that. They just haven't drawn that excitement. I know their next game is that going to be their Carabana game, like the Carnival. Yep. They got to be fully like pushing that out. Get to that crowd and say, "Hey, look, you know." They gotta find a way to show some perceived value. Everyone talks about, oh, it's a great ticket, it doesn't cost that much, but at the end of the day, nobody's really talking about that. It doesn't have that. It just doesn't have that cachet that it normally should.
Yeah, the big thing with just the attendance overall is just, I think it just shocked me because, like, look, you had two hot fan bases. See, I figured, hey, that would draw people, but you make a great point with the Blue Jays argument too. I did look up the schedule for the rest of the year, and none of their games actually conflict with any Blue Jays home dates. There's not, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure, unless they make the playoffs, which hopefully, but. And I know, and I just wanted to circle back to that Hamilton thing, because obviously I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of Hamilton fans that took strong offense to, oh, this fan base is this. Why didn't this fan base travel to this? There is a game the next time the Ticats and the Argos meet up in Toronto. It's a Saturday afternoon. Not only can that be a good day to go watch a football game, that's a game that could have serious playoff implications on the line for it. So that's a game where it's like, look, hey, if it's something that sells itself, it's like you have that right there waiting for you. But with the marketing aspects of it, I feel like the Carabana games, I don't know if they've marketed well in the past. They don't usually wait until the CNE game to market it. Like, I remember the push last year was crazy, where, hey, mentioning people, you get your football ticket, but you also get your exhibition ticket. Like, that's the game we all know. Like, my wife goes to that game every year since I started covering the team because, hey, we kill two birds with one stone. We get to go to the CNE, get to experience the Argos game, and then the three of us get to have our ice cream sandwich and, go on our merry way. So they have to find ways to do that. But even that game in Winnipeg, though, it's Saturday night. I feel like if that was a 3 or 4 o'clock kick, you'd have a better chance of drawing some more people. But for right now, it's kind of hard to see, which I also realized, too, it's going to be, for me, crossing the last team I haven't covered at BMO Field off my list of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, yeah, it's one of those things where we're going to have to wait and see. But, like, hopefully they can start playing well eventually, where it's like, hey, the Argos playing well. Hey, when's their next home game? Oh, it's Saturday at like 7 o'clock or Saturday at 3 o'clock. Hey, yeah, let's go.
But
they don't have they only have one Friday home game left the rest of the year, by the way.
It's not just that though, Griff. It's not just the results.
Yeah.
It's people talking about the team.
But I meant like results create buzz.
It does. The results do create a little bit of a buzz, but who's there to create the buzz, right?
He's coming back.
He is coming back, but that to me is not enough. It'll be something.
Absolutely.
It will like the casual fan that's thinking, I don't know if I want to go to a game. Maybe they'll force them to come out. But Frank, we know that this team has suffered from a lack of buzz within social media and the actual I can't say newspaper more because newspapers are kind of dying in this town, but like just no, you don't hear it talked on the radio very often. But there's podcasts about the team. But again, I talked to some people. Hey, why don't you go watch an Argo game? I'm not a big fan of the CFL. They see the CFL as like you got the Jays. I mean, summertime. Okay, Jays is like this. Even TFC has the same issue. When people perceive it as a lower level, they ain't gonna dole out the cash as if it's the same level as the Jays. Does that make sense?
Well, that's the competitive hill they have to climb, right?
Yep.
And for me, again, it's a 2-step process. They have to get people into the stadium, and then they have to produce. They have to create the atmosphere. And here's something that I feel they should work on a little more is about the tailgating. The tailgating in Toronto, as much as the biggest thing that people say about Argos fans is they don't care about the Argos. Well, if you go by the tailgating in Toronto, I have friends who are Montreal fans, and they go, I wish we had the kind of tailgating Toronto has. Same thing with people in Ottawa. So Toronto has some things that they could sell that could create a buzz. And I think the tailgating part is important. Come to the party, emphasize that it's a good time. And the buzz that you're talking about, David, is making people want to come, right? And it doesn't necessarily just have to be the football game. We learned that from BC. We learned that if you get people into the stadium for whatever reason, now you got a chance to sell the game to them. And as I said, the mistakes of the past can't be repeated. When there are a lot of people in the stadium, the team has to play like they want people to come back. And that's been the bad luck the Argos have had, is that they've had people show up, but then they haven't played well for whatever reason. I'm not here to criticize the team in regards to not delivering on the game, but I am saying there's a result there that happens if you don't play well when you have a lot of people in the stadium. And to your point, David, the buzz for me, for the Argos, like I said, it's about coming out, having a good time, having fun. Part of the buzz the Blue Jays brought in was the center field bars. That's part of what got people to go to the game, because they were going to go watch the game in a different way, a way they didn't experience before. So now they're going, I got to check out what this is like. I'm one of those people that went to see, okay, what's it like to sit on a stool and order drinks and walk to a bar and listen to music and yada, yada, yada. So they've got to think outside the box. We have that in BC. We know there are people in the Canadian Football League that can think outside the box. The Argos have to figure out how to reach younger people and attract them to come and experience the game in the way that they want to experience it, not throw out the same stuff over and over again.
Okay, but you see in the stadium, they throw out those. I'll give the game ops crew. They try to bring some excitement. The halftime, look what BC is the big example for me. They do Snoop Dogg, they did 50 Cent, they did One Republic as their pregame. Come and watch this concert. Now, people come, and then the caveat's but not everyone stays for the full game. But guess what? Everyone says, did you hear what they did at the Lions game? You see who was performing at the Lions game? Toronto doesn't really have that. That's the thing that they're lacking right now.
That's a buzz.
Right? Yeah. And you can't tell me that there isn't that opportunity for it.
Yeah, the big thing too that the Jays do, and that's I think the CFL doesn't do, because the CFL I think caters mainly to its fans. The Blue Jays basically say, we don't care if you come to the game and don't give a shit about the game. You're there, you're having a good time, stadium's full. Even last year, when the team was terrible in September, they were still getting upwards of 30,000 to when 10 years ago when the stadium was pretty much a concrete blob in the middle of the city. 10, 12,000 people, if you guys remember those days in the early 2010s at the Rogers Center, when they just, the excitement of 2013, this is the year, and then so that's the big thing that the Jays do. And I feel like even in Hamilton, because Hamilton obviously started showing off those videos of hey, here's our bar in the end zone, where it's, hey, they have a ticket. Their ticket got scanned through. And even though they're going through their attendance woes right now, but that has to do more with, losing out, the fact that they haven't won in so long. There's one team that hasn't won in so long that will sell it no matter what. And I don't think, David, you have to look too far to figure out who I'm talking about. But with the CFL, I feel like you have to do those almost not crazy elaborate illusions of bringing in someone big like the Lions do. But last year, I remember the Argos for their halftime show, it was a U2 tribute band. Do something to, even where if it's not a big name, do it to a name where it's oh, hey, this person's here. A Sean Desmond, for example, someone of presence where it's hey, this person's playing at the Argo game. It's oh, hey, do you want to go to the Argo game? How much are tickets? Because even to your point too, where everyone says, oh, how many people stayed? BC gets 50K at their home opener every year, and Amar Dolman does an excellent job at doing that, to where other teams need to realize, hey, we can do this exact same thing. Even Ottawa too. Ottawa does a pretty good job as well with drawing in on certain elements of that, where they really pump out. I know their attendance numbers are not big, but I know Canada Day, they were hey, we're having a concert, we're having a whole festival thing. So where Toronto, to where the point you're saying about the Carabana game, embrace that culture to even, hey, if you bring in those people for that one game and the Argos play great, you leave an impression on someone to where it's, hey, I want to come to another game. I want to do this. Because like we were saying earlier, most teams need results to win, but I think Toronto, it's results plus marketing.
The experience. To your point about Hamilton, and I want to be the devil's advocate on this. Part of the thing with Hamilton is because of that bar they have out at the end zone, a lot of the people actually buy seat tickets, and seats are down there. So it looks sometimes like there's nobody in the seat when in fact they're down in that bar, because there's a good, maybe 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8,000 people on the ground there.
Yeah.
Just hanging out because it looks like fun, right? And they bought tickets to sit in the seats. So when you see those empty seats, they're really not unsold. They're just unseated.
That's a great way to describe it. That it's not that they're unsold, it's just they're unseated. The Jays, would have the same thing too. Like I remember when the flight deck first opened up in the outfield to be the same thing because I buy a ticket in the 500 level and you go down there. Now they have the outfield district to where hey, seats are full, patios are full. That's why they do so well. I'm going to the Jays next Friday night, so I'm getting to experience that for myself as well. But one thing I want to go back to, just because we're talking earlier about like just odds. So I don't have like the Grey Cup winning odds, but to reach the final, one thing I just want to note. So Ottawa is in second to last place right now at plus 560, but Edmonton plus 1500. That's just to get to the Grey Cup. That's just not to win it. So both teams still have a lot of legwork to catch up on. Toronto, meanwhile, is plus 400 to get to the Grey Cup.
Who's worse than them odds wise?
So right. Oh, actually, I'll just pull up the Grey Cup. The Grey Cup odds.
Okay.
So Montreal is plus 265.
Makes sense.
Saskatchewan's second at plus 280.
Makes sense as well.
Winnipeg's plus 360.
Yeah.
Still making sense.
Hamilton is a big leap, but they're plus 820.
Mm-hmm.
So they're fourth. They're fourth.
Fifth is the Argos at plus 840. So the sports books still think that Toronto can get to the game, can potentially get there and win it. And then after that, Calgary and BC are both plus 900. Ottawa is plus 1200. And then the Edmonton Elks are plus 3400. So that means a $100 wager would win you $3,400.
So we're putting money down on Calgary. Is that what we're doing? That's right now.
If you're looking for value, I would look at those Calgary and BC odds to get to win. This isn't to get to the game. This is to win it.
That would be buying low.
Yeah. That's like a low risk, high reward kind of wager. The one thing that too with the CFL I'm so surprised about this year is that they haven't announced a halftime show for the Grey Cup. I wonder if it's either they don't have anyone yet, or is it just they're trying to convince acts like, hey, do you want to come perform in Winnipeg in the freezing cold November? Pardon me?
It's still early.
Yeah, I just know last year they announced the Jonas Brothers right before the kickoff, but I think they were doing that to create buzz. So,
I don't remember when they announced it. To be honest with you,
I'm not sure either.
I think it was right at the beginning. I think it was it was early on in the year. I just remember that. It wasn't like later on. I think it was like within the first few weeks of the season.
Have they announced that tickets are on sale for the Grey Cup? Because that usually takes a little bit of time.
They have, and I think they're moving pretty okay. I think the lower bowl's mostly sold out, and I think the upper deck's at least half sold. So the game's going to be sold out. I just think right now they're around. I think they've sold at least 20 to 25,000 tickets.
And Winnipeg fans are going to take a lot of those tickets.
I wonder how many of them will still show up though if the Bombers don't make it.
Well, there's always that resale.
Here's what I'll say about that. If the Bombers don't make it, look at the other team that can make it. Frank and I had this discussion. Imagine if Saskatchewan were to go in there. If you look at the fans that go to Grey Cups, if it's not Winnipeg fans, it's Saskatchewan fans. If they know they have a chance to win a Grey Cup in Winnipeg Stadium, oh boy.
A lot of broken banjos, baby. A lot of broken banjos.
I actually spoke with a Riders reporter a few weeks ago, basically, because I know he was telling me that a lot of Rider fans would love, because obviously a couple years ago, Winnipeg went into Regina to try to win a Grey Cup, so they would love to get their kickback to, go there and try to win one. But anyway, guys, we have, apart from all this talk of this great Canadian league we follow, which, Frank, thank you for the podcast title of Broken Banjos. We only have a few games to talk about, but we'll get to those. We have 3 great games this weekend, starting off with Saskatchewan coming off the bye week. And we have Calgary coming off a Stampede Bowl win, which one thing I did hear is apparently it is going to be Winnipeg and Calgary playing in that game for the foreseeable future. So we'll see where that goes. But with this game right here, for as good as Calgary has looked, I'm not fading the hot hand until it shows me that, hey, they're going through a rough patch. So I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going with the Rough Riders to win tonight.
I think this could be the opportunity for the first letdown for the Rough Riders. I think they have the formula to win this game, but Calgary's been playing some good football, and they're riding on a high after beating Winnipeg. They would love nothing more than to strut their stuff against Saskatchewan. So I think Calgary. What's the? I'm just looking at 5.5.
5.5.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with the under 53.5. I think this is gonna be more of a defensive matchup. And I like Calgary in this one. I don't think like Saskatchewan's done very well. Don't get me wrong. But Calgary, that's gonna be a very tough challenge for them.
I'm on the fence, and so it's just a question of which side of the fence I fall on. And for me, I'm going to go for Calgary as well for this reason. Calgary has won, and I don't think they've gotten the respect for the wins that they've had that Saskatchewan has. And I think Saskatchewan's won some games that they really shouldn't have won. They squeaked out a couple, and I think a reality check is in order for them. And the coach hasn't been 100% happy with them, even how they won. And we're going to find out whether what the coach is worried about will manifest itself. I'm going to say it will, and I'm going to say that Calgary is really gaining a lot of confidence, and it's going to come down to Adams and what he does. And he's going to be the difference maker here, because I really believe that he can win big games. When he loses his confidence, he loses it. But when he gains his confidence, he gains it. He's a really night and day quarterback. And I think this is, to David's point, this is an opportunity for him to really show that he's a winner. And it's in the middle of the season. There's not that much pressure, really, honestly. Is there really a lot of pressure right now to win? Not for those two teams. They've got winning records.
So my reason for picking Sasaski is just like, look, I'm going to ride the hot hand until it just shows like, hey, that's why I'm doing it. Just like, hey, they're hot. I'm going to avoid it. This is a real good show me something game for the Stampeders, because they can show the league that, hey, the first few wins of the year weren't flukes. We are who we think they are. But they have to, I think if their defense can help them out and get some picks, because that was the difference maker against Toronto, and that was the big difference maker last week against Winnipeg, excuse me. If they can play all three sides of the ball well, Calgary can. They can cause for a long night. But I've just, from what I've seen so far with Saskatchewan, excuse me, I just don't want to pick against them at the current moment. I want to have them give me a reason to pick against them, like this next team does. And before we get to this next team, guys, just a reminder: this picks are always presented by Gents Boutique. Promo code down below to get $20 off any items of $50, any purchase of $50 or more. Excuse me. And that team that's disappointed me was Ottawa, because last week I thought, hey, Ottawa's going to come into Hamilton. They're going to win this game. They did the complete opposite, and now they play a Hamilton team who looks really, really good. But there's a little voice inside of me saying Hamilton can lose this game for as much as they can win this game. I don't know why. I also think this game is going to be a points fest. I just think both defenses can allow a lot of points, but when it comes to a shootout, I am going to go Hamilton. But I wouldn't be shocked to see Ottawa pull off the upset here.
Man, like Drew Brown's gonna have to play the game of his life in this one. I think Hamilton's feeling pretty good about themselves after what they did to Toronto. And can Ottawa's defense after what happened against Edmonton, can they slow down Bo Levi Mitchell? Right? I just don't. If you're asking me which offense can go toe to toe, I don't think Ottawa has the ability to go toe to toe with Hamilton offensively. So like I think let's see here, like Hamilton, I would take Hamilton.
Did we lose him?
I think we lost him, but I think he liked Hamilton with a 4.5. I'm going to take Hamilton with a 4.5 as well. I took the over for my best picks of the week. I I just can't trust. I did this last year with Hamilton where I couldn't trust them, and now I'm doing the same thing with Ottawa where I'm just going to pick against Ottawa until they show me, hey, we can get things done.
Well, I really think that Ottawa's ready to do something good. Their quarterback has had a chance to start, play a full game, put it under his belt, and now go out there against a team that they're motivated to beat. I mean, there's nothing that's going to motivate Ottawa more than beating Hamilton to establish that they are the team, right? They are the better team. I really think, Griff, that Ottawa has a chance. But, I said during this show, I've said it during every year, Ottawa figures out a way to disappoint me. But I'm going to do the opposite of you. I'm not going to give up on them till they actually do it. How's that?
So you're going Ottawa?
I'll go Ottawa. Yeah, I'll go Ottawa. Not to tick off my Hamilton friends, but because I just think that Ottawa's due. They're past due. And as I said, if they lose, I won't be disappointed because it'll be, oh, well, I thought they might. Oh, well.
So my thing is I thought they were past due last week and I got burned by it. So this is me just like, this
You're
is me rage picking against
You're entitled.
With, I think our friend David, I think his internet, he conked out in his words. So I think it's just you and I to finish. And we got one more game with BC playing Edmonton. Edmonton did get their first win of the year, but Nathan Rourke reminded us last Saturday that when he needed to put some drives together and win in the game, he did just that. And for that reason, I'm not picking against Nathan Rourke. I think Edmonton got their win. They looked good. They looked good against Ottawa, but I won't pick against Nathan Rourke.
I'm going to go with Edmonton for one reason.
Ooh.
I believe their running game is for real.
Yeah.
And I believe that'll be the kryptonite that they need to feed their opponent with. Their running game, I think, is going to make a difference. They have a really good offensive line that started slow, and I think the offensive line is better than it's been. And now it's starting to show that it knows what to do. And you've got to, Eugene Lewis is there. I think he has something to prove, after playing against Montreal. And I think he might be a big factor. And they got a guy from the Argos who was basically the top receiver for the Argos, and they traded him away for a lineman that ended up back in Edmonton. So I don't think I'm going to bet against Edmonton, only because I think they're a team that's improved. Welcome back, David.
He's back.
I don't know, my internet, my Ethernet just conked out on me. I don't know what happened there.
I literally told him, because I texted you being like, hey, you froze, and you're like, oh, my internet conked out, and I was just like, fuck. But no, we moved on. So we're going to backtrack a little bit here. So David, Frank's going Ottawa. I'm going Hamilton. I think you were about to say you're going Hamilton as well.
Yeah, I'm going Hamilton. It's 4.5.
Yes.
After what they did to Toronto, like Ottawa's going to have to prove that defense can slow down Levi Mitchell. I just don't know if I see that happening, especially because Edmonton laid down 39 points. Now, Ottawa kept it close. I'll give them that. But Hamilton's not Edmonton. So I just think that, unless they can prove that they can stop the Kenny Lawler, Bo Levi Mitchell connection, I don't know.
And then lastly, now you have to be the tiebreaker for this one. So I'm BC because I like Nathan Rourke and I really was impressed by what he did last Saturday night. Frank thinks Edmonton. What does Mr. Morisuti think with BC and Edmonton?
Oh,
so
close. I think this is in BC, right?
It's at BC Place Stadium, yes.
Yeah, give me BC, but yeah, I'll take BC, and I'll even take them at 2.5.
For me, it was just Nathan Rourke showed us like, hey, he is who we thought he was. He can be that bad man when it needs to be. And I think that win last week for the Lions was such a confidence-boosting win to where it can really help propel their season.
Yeah.
Apart from the fisticuffs that happened afterwards.
Some passion. What are you going to say?
Mm-hmm. Passion, broken banjos, and us trying to figure out the marketing and revenue streaming of the CFL.
Absolutely.
Stuart, if you're listening to this, we're the three of us are available. We know the league. And then one more Argonaut question before we wrap up today. Would we consider next? So, besides winning, is there any how do you say it? Not shortcoming wins, but what's the word you use when you lose? But it's you think you won, but something you can take as positive.
Oh my God! I use this all the Montreal Canadiens used to use this all this time.
Emotional victory.
Not an emotional victory. Yeah, that's
you're looking for the other.
A moral victory.
Moral victory. I was going to ask you for next Thursday night. Could there be any moral victories for the Argonauts? Do you think it's a must-win, regardless of who's playing and who's at quarterback?
I think next game's a must-win for Toronto. 1,000%.
Two things that have to work for them is their defense has to grab that game by the throat, as does the special teams. Those two have been very inconsistent. The offense, as I said about Arbuckle, has been getting better game in, game out. The other two have to catch up and, in fact, pass the offense, because the Argos are built as a team that wins by defense and special teams. That's been the trademark of this team in their runs, hasn't it? It's never been the offense. The offense hasn't been the reason why they win Grey Cups or finish first. It's been their defense and their special
teams. Yeah, Frank's totally right.
Special teams, special moments, special players. I only ask about the moral victory thing just because, hey, if they were 1-5, but it's hey, we're slowly doing this. But yeah, I think next week, because how we were expecting Dinwiddie to be very not even keeled as he was when we spoke to him after Hamilton. I think regardless, or if they lose next Friday, on Thursday night, I think we're going to see that ugly side we saw against Saskatchewan come out if they fall to 1-5. But if they win this game, they're knocking at the door of this being anyone's game. They win. Hamilton and Ottawa also play a home and home. So next Sunday it's in Ottawa. So if Hamilton wins 2 in a row, Montreal wins 1, and then So if Hamilton wins their next 2, Toronto wins Thursday, it's slowly becoming open season in the East as it is out West.
Absolutely. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, amazing. That's why I was making that point earlier about that next time when Toronto and Hamilton play. Labor Day is obviously an asterisk because that game's pretty much guaranteed to be either sold out or close to it.
And all that disappointment with Hamilton fans not showing up, that changes. That last game changed the attitude of the Hamilton fans, because now they have every reason in the world to believe that their Hamilton Tiger Cat team, God bless Oski Wee Wee, has turned a corner.
Yeah. It's not easy to expect this type of turnaround to happen so quickly, but it's working right now.
I would also title this "God Bless Oski Wee Wee," but my uncle would strangle me if I did that. So I'm going to. That's how much he hates them.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand. I can respect that.
Not a big fan of Argos suck either.
No, he has some other sayings that I'm not gonna repeat on the airwaves. But you know what, gentlemen, it was a blast getting to do this once again. We'll see you guys in person in 2 weeks for Winnipeg, Toronto.
I think so.
Yeah, and then and then you can catch the three of us on the Argo Zoom. That'll be posted on YouTube sometime late next Thursday night or Friday morning in a week from now. But for Candy Frank Sanishi, for David Morisuti, I'm Griff. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy your summer and enjoy your football. Episode 368 in the books. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks for including us.